Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I hope everyone's okay. It's Paul Adams here from the Amazon Growers. We've got Mr. Rob Forney in the background. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great this morning. How's everybody doing out there in the virtual world online?
I trust everyone's well. I hope they are.
We've got some exciting stuff today.
We have indeed. We have indeed. As you can see on the screen here, as opposed to my sort of fantastic ugly face, we've got Amasuite 5 versus Jungle Scout, and it's going to be Jungle Scout web app primarily. So we're going to be looking at both of these pieces of software, and both of these are product sourcing or product idea finding, or however you want to term it. Basically, it's your research tools. Okay, so we're going to have a look at both of these. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in, and today we're not going to be going through slides. We're going to be doing this live. So bear with us. We normally get some technical issues, but hopefully, touch wood and fingers crossed and wind blowing in the right direction, everything's going to be okay. So all right, I'm going to stop sharing this presentation and go straight over to Jungle Scout web app. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lead first and walk us through Jungle Scout web app. I will be touching on Jungle Scout Chrome because we need something to analyze the data. And then once I've had a look at this, then Rob's going to take us through the new Amasuite 5. And in particular, we're going to be looking at sort of the product sourcing side of it. But as you know, with Amasuite 5, hence the 5, there are 5 applications. So we'll just quickly have a look at those at the back end as well. Okay, so right, I'm going to jump.
Hey, Paul, I think it's really important to kind of give you the comparison and just from my end and my perspective on Amasuite and Jungle Scout, you're really looking at the comparison kind of to like a level playing field of both of them is that you're comparing the Jungle Scout web app compared to Amasuite because they do very, very similar things. Now, Jungle Scout has a couple different things that it does that Amasuite does not, as well as the other way. So they both have some advantages that we're going to go over, but they both will help you find products. But this is really the comparison between the web app, and the difference between the Amasuite top 100 analyzer. Now with Amasuite, there are there's almost 4 pieces of software now, and we'll touch on that once we talk about that just for a moment, because I mean, Amasuite does include these other products, and it's super important to know that, where the web app is just the web app, Amasuite has 4 pieces of software. But the other thing is that the web app works online as opposed to, I mean, the web app works online because you go and it's on the cloud, whereas Amasuite is actually a piece of software that installs on your computer. So that's kind of just the basics of it. And then Paul will go now and find out Jungle Scout. We're going to find out the qualifications of each one, and hopefully they help you find a product regardless.
Well, let's see if we can find a product. So basically, once you sign up for the web app, you get access to the interface, and as Rob said, it is cloud-based, so therefore there's nothing to download, and you just log in. And depending on which level you actually sign up for, you get on the basics. You get sort of product tracker, which we'll have a look at later. We get the product database, the niche hunter. The niche hunter is available on the upper membership. And again, we'll have a look at that later. And then we've got the Chrome extension, which is a little bit different and totally separate. So I'm going to focus on the product database to start with. And this is the interface. And if you haven't seen the interface to start with, I'm just going to run through what we've got there. I'm just going to scroll down. Hopefully you can see that I've increased the resolution slightly to 150%. So right on the left-hand side, we're basically broken down into sections. We've got sort of 3 sections here. We've got the left-hand side, we've got the center there, we've got the filters, and over on the right-hand side, we've got some additional filters that we can apply. But to start with, you can actually see which marketplace you're interested in. So if you're in the UK, you can press on the UK, and that'll bring up all of the UK data from the .co.uk. Amazon site, and likewise with all of these other marketplaces. I'm interested in the USA at the moment, so that's why I'll click the USA, and that's the default standard start position for the product database. Now, under that, we've got the categories. Now, these categories align themselves with what is on and the inside of Amazon. Okay, so if you want to select all, you just toggle the all, or you should unselect them, unselect all of them. But what I suggest is that only select the categories that you can actually sell in. In other words, avoid the restricted categories and some of the gated categories, or restricted gated categories. It's the same thing, just different terminology. But if you are ungated in any of these categories, then by all means, obviously click those and select those particular ones. So as I'm coming down, I'm going to select beauty because I am ungated in beauty. Okay, so I'm also going to come down. I'm going to ignore most of these because I'm not interested in any of them. It's just getting an echo from Rob, so I just put that on mute. Hold on. So we then go down, 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 down. So home and garden, I'm interested in home and garden. That's a pretty sort of open category, an even category. So you basically see what I'm doing here is I'm just toggling these on because they're the ones I'm interested in. Movement, I'll have some of that. Industrial scientific, no. Kitchen and dining is an obvious one as well. Patio, lawn and garden, that's okay. Now, word of warning, sometimes when we're doing these walkthroughs, I'll click sports and outdoors, and I tend to get a lot of clothing. In selling any clothing, even though it's shown in sports and outdoors, you just get too many variations, too many issues. And a lot of that is branded products, so i.e. there'll be Nike or Adidas come up and stuff like that, so which I'm really not interested. So I'm going to leave sports and outdoors out for this moment in time. So that's basically, I'm happy with that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories that I've selected in order to go off and find some data. Now, the way that Jungle Scout does this is they actually draw all of the products or available products, suitable products to be sold from Amazon's database, and they actually bring it into their own database. Okay, so if I just scroll down here, we'll be able to see down here the numbers, total results. Because I haven't actually done anything, this is set to reset. So we've got 36 million items in their database. Okay, and this is not, we're not going into Amazon. We're actually going into the database that Jungle Scout has drawn from Amazon, and I believe that's up to date, updated on a weekly basis. New data, but it is a database within Jungle Scout's system itself. Okay, so let's have a look at the filters. That center section over here. You're saying, okay, we got. If I hover over the little eye, that'll bring us a quick description of each of these elements. And to give you an idea of what the field is. But those that are within the Guerrillas boot camp will know that we've got a bit of a strategy, and I'm just going to go along with what we suggest. So I'm just going to work through each of these and apply the Guerrillas strategy. Now, when I talk about the Guerrillas strategy, this is a starting point, okay? And these numbers are not set in stone. You don't have to actually go with these every single time. And we do suggest that you actually adjust some of the numbers so you can get different results, because this is a set of data filters, okay, going through that 36 million items within the database, and that's going to draw out or give you the result from the result of these filters that you put in. So if you make a slight adjustment on any of these filters, that's going to give you a slightly different result. All right, so let's have a look at sort of working through this to start with anyway. So pricing, what we say is a minimum of $17, simply because anything less than that has very little profit to be made once you've got the cost of the product, the shipping, and then you've got the FBA fees on top of that. There's not a lot of margin in there if you actually build your product sort of business. So let's put that in at 70, and we say a maximum of 50. Again, the top end can vary slightly depending on your budget, but anything more than 50, then the cost of actual acquisition of your products may be prohibitive. Particularly if you're looking at something with an MOQ of 500 or 1,000, something like that. If it's 1,000, you've got the cost of the product at 20. That's $20,000. Not everybody can start off with that, and we suggest you don't start with that anyway. So anyway, we're going to put that as 50. When it comes to net, we talk about 35%. Okay, so as a minimum, so that's again, this is one of those numbers that can change. But if we look at 35% of 17. I've already done the number here, so I'm not going to lie to you. It's sort of 595. So that's what I'm looking for in each product as a minimum. Now Amazon will give us that number, so therefore Jungle Scout will be able to pull that out and provide that as part of our filters. Now the rank, again, this is we don't want anything that's just too competitive at the right end. So we're not looking at a rank of 100 or 200, something like that. When I'm talking about rank, it's the BSR, the best sellers rank. Remember that. So we don't want anything at the top end, and consequently we don't want anything right at the bottom end either. You know, we're not interested in those with a BSR of 700,000 or 1 million. It just shows that it's not selling anything. So I'm going to put that in the between 5,000 as a minimum today, and I'm going to go with 20. If you look back on some of our videos, this particular number here does change, and it does vary, and it will give you different results. Okay, so estimated sales, I'm going to go with 300 here, and that's 300 a month. Okay, estimated sales is 300 a month. Sometimes I'll leave this out, sometimes I'll put sort of a different number in there. Going to give you an idea of some of the filters and some of the criteria you can actually work with. This is a starting point. It's a good starting point. Estimated minimum revenue. We've got a rule of thumb. It's a third, a third, the third. Okay, so if I want to be making between $500 and $1,000 a month profit in my pocket in order to pay some of the bills, I need to times that by 3. So if I'm interested in 1,000 a month, I'll call that 3,000. As simple as that. Not rocket science. It's just a very, very broad brush rule of thumb that we can apply to one of the filters. Again, reviews, minimum. Well, I'm interested in a product's got a few reviews as opposed to a brand new one, because something that's got a few reviews tells me that it's actually selling. So I'm going to put 10 in here, but consequently, I don't want anything that's selling too well, because that means that's well established and that's quite a tough competition to actually go after. So I'm going to limit that to 100 today. And again, that can vary. That sometimes I put in 500, sometimes I put in 300, but I'm just putting 100. And again, it's just a guide. All right. So it's part of our strategy. Ratings. This is the star rating. Okay. So if you've got a low star rating and they're still selling well, that means that there's a good opportunity for you to actually look at the reviews, the bad reviews, the 1-star and the 2-star reviews. Talk to a potential supplier and say, look, this product here, this keeps on breaking, or this keeps on bending, or this keeps on scratching, or whatever the case may be. Can we improve that? Okay, it just gives you that opportunity to actually identify something that can be improved upon. So I'm going to put that as a 3 and a maximum of 4.6. Okay, because the ratings go from 0 to 5 in increments of 0.1. Weight. I'm not interested in a minimum. I don't mind shipping around feathers, but I don't want to ship around anything that's too heavy. So I'm going to limit that today for 2 pounds. Sometimes I go to 3, 2.5, whatever. Number of sellers, maximum of sellers. I'm interested in FBA private label sellers. Therefore, I'm number 1. And quality listing. Now, this is something that the Jungle Scout have got their own little calculation or algorithm in the back end, and they take in consideration all of the aspects on your listing or a listing and give each of the elements a rating. And they look at the title, the bullet points, the images, and the description. And if it's really optimized and it's looking really good, that'll be 100. If it's a really bad listing with next to no one word in the title, 1 image, no bullet points, no description, that'll be a really low one. So I'm not going to put a minimum, but I'm going to put a maximum of 75 here. Okay, so that's basically, sometimes I'll leave that out. So, but this is a reasonable starting point to get going. All right. Now, over on the right-hand side here, we've got the final set of filters. The first thing I do is just set that to standard. Keep life easy to start with. Don't go and find something that's oversized or too big or large or heavy. Okay, so we're going to go with a standard tier that's related into the Amazon product sizing. Sellers, I'm just going to leave that blank at the moment. I'm not worried who's selling what. Keywords, I'm going to leave that out. Exclude keywords, I'm going to leave that out for the moment. But this is an area that if you're after something specific, or you're always finding something that's got clothing, for example, I could actually put in sort of pants or top or whatever like that, and that will exclude anything that's got the keyword in the title there. So you could do that. And the other thing I like to do is don't flick around with it too many pages. So I put that results per page to the maximum of 200. All right. So as a screenshot, we've now gone into the US market. We've selected the various different categories. We've applied some filters based upon a starting point based upon our strategy. We've gone with a standard and 200 results. So all you got to do now is press search. Okay, and now what that's going to do is go off and search inside the database and apply the filters to the results, and that's going to come up with an interactive HTML. And here we go. Okay, so what we do now is have a look at what we've got. So over on the top right hand corner here, we've got 213 results, and over here on the top column IDs, we can see exactly where we're looking. So we've got the category it's listed in, we've got the price it's selling for, we've got the net payout. All right, we've got the weight of the product, we've got the number of reviews, we've got the ranking. Now, all of these are going to be inside the set of filters that we set up here. Okay, so that's why we've only got 213 from that 36 million results. Okay, based upon our selection. Okay, so and the estimated number of sales and the revenue over on the right hand side. Okay, so bearing in mind we put a minimum, but we didn't put a maximum on there today. So the next thing I do is when I'm scrolling through there, I automatically start to apply the products to avoid in my head. Now, just to remind you what that is quickly, it's liquids, breakable, branded products, anything that's too complicated, anything that's too many parts, replacement parts for other branded components. And a typical one of that is these filters. You often see those come up. So that's an area to steer clear on. So let's have a look through what we've got from the results. So we can come through here. This paste is in a glass jar. I don't like glass. That could well get broken as well. So that's on the products to avoid. And I'm just doing that from a mental basis. If you haven't got that, if you can't do that, we do have a download. It's easy to get to within the membership or on the website. So just download it and become familiar with that sort of that process as we're scanning through. Okay, fresh balls lotion, dude wipes, replacements, Tupperware steamer, reasonable, moth traps. So I'm just scrolling through here, see what we've got. See if we can find anything that's reasonable or not. So these that's pretty generic. Okay, this is a very generic product here. It's a kitchen drawer divider. If I'm interested in something that's I like the look of, the next thing I want to do is go off and have a look at that particular product inside Amazon. Now there's 3 buttons down here on any listing. As you can see, you've got the plus button, which I'll come back to that in a minute. You've got a refresh product data page, and then you've got the view on Amazon. So I'm going to go and click that, and that's going to open that in a separate new tab at the top here. Okay, and that's now brought up that particular listing inside Amazon. So what I quickly do is just have a quick scan of the actual listing itself. So I can see here they've got some reasonable images. They've got enough images. I wouldn't say they're reasonable, but you know, it's not a bad job. Looks like the title's fairly well optimized. They've got some bullet points, a little bit long for me. Or down, you got the description. You got a little bit of HTML going on in here. So yeah, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's not such a bad sort of listing. I want to come back. Let's have a quick look at the sort of listing score. That's a 72. All right, so it's on the high end of. Don't forget, I put a score in there of 75 as a top end, so it's getting on the top end of that. So, and as you can see, that's a reasonable listing. That's why it's got a relatively high score from. This stands for Listing Quality Score, the LQS. Okay, which is the calculation I was talking about earlier. But this is not what I want to analyze. Okay, this is not my competitor. If I was interested in this, I'm not actually going to go and try and fight this particular seller and for his position. What I'm interested in is everybody else, all the rest of the competition. So what I do then is have a look at the title and try and pick out the keywords that are associated with this particular product. Do the search and let's try and find what the other competitors are like. So adjustable kitchen drawer dividers, that sounds about right to me. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to put that into the search bar, paste. I'm going to change that from home and kitchen to all categories or all departments, and then do the search on that. All right. So this is not the be all and end all, because certain products may be listed under a different keyword or a different search term. But I've used that because I think that's relatively close to what I'm looking for. Now I can see at the top hand side here, top left hand side, it's got 443 results for this particular keyword search, or the long-term keyword. So I have to scroll down. Just want to make sure I'm on the right page, make sure that it is adjustable drawer dividers that we're actually looking at. And you can see there's a few adjustable products in here. There's a few standard fixed ones. Yeah, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. So what I do now, and I talked about earlier, I need the Chrome extension. I'm going to dip into the Chrome extension, and this is where I need that Chrome extension as well. So, you know, it's not just the web app that I'm looking at here, because I need to analyze the data. This pulls up suggestions for a product, and then what you have to do is then go and find or have a look at the total set of results for a particular keyword. Now, if I was doing this a little bit longer, I would actually investigate alternative keywords up here just to make sure that we've got the correct ones. So, but now what I would need to do is press the Chrome extension. I just press that on my Chrome extension. I've got Jungle Scout Pro up here, so I just press that, and what that's going to do now is, and again I should zoom in a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. It's going to pull up the data for this entire page. Load, and don't forget I'm in the Philippines, so I'm on the super fast internet over here. So at this point I'll normally go and get a cup of coffee and come back.
Hey, I think it's super important.
As you can see, that's started to populate out, and what it's going to do is bring up all of the.
No.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got you.
I think it's super important to know you've just switched two different applications, and I wouldn't spend too much time in that because I don't think it's a fair comparison. So if there's any data for sales and stuff, it probably should come out of the web app if we're comparing apples to apples. Because I'll go ahead and finish this, but definitely understand that you now went into another program that cost another $200 or another $150. I'm sorry. So go ahead.
Yeah, and that's something I'm going to touch on in a minute. I'm going to have a look at the price of the actual total, like how to get from where I started to the end. So anyway, we've got the set of results here. And as you can see, we've got a number of different products down there. But initially, what I'm looking at is the estimated revenue. So I'm looking down the estimated revenue. And just to make life easy on my eyes, I'm just going to press estimated revenue. And that's going to do the largest to smallest, smallest to largest. So I've got that revenue drop. And as you can see, we've got one dominant player in the market up here doing 65,000 or 65,500 a month. And then we drop right down to 13. But the rest of the players are around, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. So as you can see, it's one of those products that are putting onto a short list. All right. So the number of reviews as well. And again, you as you would expect, 65,000. This seller has got a lot of reviews. But the rest of the number of reviews are reasonable, you know, so 80, 10, 24, you know, I can imagine like 10 reviews doing 6,000, 24 reviews doing 6,000. So that's pretty good. But don't forget, we need to do a little bit more work with respect to, you know, is this a viable product? So I'm just showing you the quick process on how to get from A to B through this. All right. So as a product, I would say that's reasonable. So what I would do then, I would come back to the Jungle Scout web app. All right. And if I'm interested in this particular product, I'm not going to do too much work now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to the product tracker. All right. Now, this is the little sort of plus sign here. So if I press that, okay, that's now going to say your product's now been added to the tracker. As you can see on the top right hand corner here, we've got that confirmation. So product added to tracker. All right. So, and then what you would do, you would just continue that search through the results and do exactly the same process. Go in and have a look at the actual page on Amazon, do some analysis on the numbers, and if it's okay, then add it to your tracker. Now, let me jump over to the tracker because this is the next part of Jungle Scout web app that is quite important. Okay, so if we jump over there, we should be able to see the latest product that I've added in, and there's a couple of other products in here that we've added through various different sort of training courses, etc. But here it is. Here is our adjustable kitchen drawer dividers. What that is going to do is just going to sit there. And what Jungle Scout is going to do is going to basically populate pieces of data for me over a period of time, so I can actually monitor that to see whether it is actually a good selling product or not. Now, let me show you what I mean. So over on the right hand side here, and again, we've got some various different buttons here. We've got view it on Amazon. Again, we've got trash. If we stop doing some monitoring on a particular product, we can get rid of that, or we can expand to view the charts. And this is what I'm interested in. So if I expand that, I'm just going to show you what this gives you. So don't forget, this is on this adjustable kitchen drawer divider. Okay, and this is the type of data that's going to start to pull in. Now, this is just a little bit historical, but over a period of time, yeah, I'm going to do sort of 60 days, 30 days, 14 days, and 7 days. If you leave this in there long enough, and I suggest 14 days is a pretty good sort of review period as a minimum, you can actually see trends or highs and lows of what this product is selling. All right, and it's got some information over here on the right hand side. You can just double check, make sure your characteristics are correct. But this is what I'm interested in. So the green line is the rank. So you can see the rank, or the BSR. The rank on this particular product, you can see at any one particular time as 9,000. Then it dropped down to 6,000. So you can see it's a little bit variable, but you know, bearing in mind that the range is between 6,000 and 9,000, that's not too bad. The blue bars from a bar chart, that's telling us the inventory. All right, so that's basically the inventory in stock. So at the beginning of the month, the 4th of the 4th, this particular seller had around 261 items in stock. As you can see, as of today or yesterday, is 197. All right, so you can just do the calculations with respect to over that period of time, how many they've sold. Or you can just come down to the bottom here, estimated units sold, 13 there. We've got 12. So you can see the daily, but the longer you leave it in, the more data you're going to get and the more accurate you're going to get. Now, when it comes to some products that we saw on the analytics, we're looking at sort of one particular seller has 6,000 estimated revenue per month with only 10 reviews. Now, that could, bearing in mind, that's a snapshot in time. When I press that button, they're just going to give me that data there and then. Now, that could be a false reading because that particular supplier may have done some sort of promo to actually boost the sales. Okay, and this is why adding it to the product tracker is important, such you can see whether it's a continuous trend or whether there was any spikes in the sales at all, which will give you that false reading. Whereas that 6,000 a month may actually be 600 a month if you even everything out, if you take out that boost of sales from a promo or giveaway, for example. So if I scroll down here to some of the older products we've been looking at, way back. So let's have a look at this one here. I think I added that maybe about 18 months ago. So if I have a look at this goal set, pop-up goal set, we'll be able to see a lot of data in here simply because it's been running for such a long time. Okay, now as you can see, sort of the units in here, the inventory hasn't really changed. Well, they've basically got a lot of inventory. What they're saying is more than 999 or 1,000 units in stock. Looks like they done something drastic here. The inventory was 94, but they went straight back up and nothing. But you can see the sales trend, or the BSR, is fairly steady. So I would say that this is pretty steady over a period of time, over the last 60 days at least. Okay. And that's not too bad. And you can see the sales, I know they're only small down here, but there's little tiny orange bits here. That's going to tell you how many units were sold that particular sort of period in time. And here it's saying 30. So that's average around 30 a day. So if I scroll up here, okay, this data here, okay, I'm just going to move the mouse around here a little bit. You can see that gives you that average data trend, because I've clicked on the 60 days. It's going to say the 60-day average selling price was $63.50. Over the past 60 days, the average rank, the BSR, was 3,506. And estimated daily sales, right, is 27 units a day over the last 60 days as an average, with an average daily, this is a daily revenue. All right, so I just want to underline that daily, $1,700 per day over the past 60 days. All right, so you can see the importance of actually adding a product to the product tracker, because it does give you that trend and you can see whether it is a stable product or not. So as a quick walkthrough, that is basically where we are from the Jungle Scout web app. Now, what does it cost? What does it do? So let's go and have a look. I'm just going to log into the main page here. Jungle Scout, and that's going to take you to the sales page. Okay. Now let's have a quick roll down, see what we've got. So you got all of the various different things. Yeah, thank you very much. Very good, very good. This is what I'm interested in. Okay. So again, let me zoom in so we can have a look at that a little bit closer. All right. Now, bearing in mind, what I had to do to get from the start to the finish is use both of these applications. All right. So I just want to make that clear. I started off with the web app. I had to use the Chrome extension in order to get the analytical data from everything else. 1 second. So we've got the web app as a standard. That's a 49 a month, or the 29 as a startup. Or if you're a business and you're a little bit larger, you can go into the 69 a month. And the Chrome extension, bearing in mind I was using the Chrome extension Pro, which is a 197 one-time fee. All right, so let's have a look and see what you get on the web app. I think I'm zoomed in a little bit too far. That's better. So if you want to get started, it's $29 a month, and what you get is a product database, obviously. You get a product tracker, which is cool. So I think that's important to actually understand, use that. Amazon catalog built for sellers, endless product ideas, yeah, spy on competitors, yeah, we've done some of that. Find what's selling, yeah, we know that. Find low competition, cloud-based, get the niche hunter, okay, with the startup. That's what I was saying. That comes with the additional monthly payments. Okay, so if you want to start it, you won't get the niche hunter. I didn't touch into that because I know that's only on the top end. But what I also done was that 197. So if you want to go down the Jungle Scout web app, the Jungle Scout family of products, you would need probably the $29 a month in order to get you going, and the 197 is a one-off fee. All right, so just to let you know. Now, if you jump into here, they've also got some other products, got free resources. So if you jump into the free resources, for example, you can get the sales estimate. This is the last thing I want to do before I hand it over to Rob on the Amasuite.
Unbelievable.
So as a sales estimator, this is something fairly simple. So if we go back over here, I'm going to look at 3,500 in sports and outdoors. Okay. Just give me a rough estimate. So I just clicked on the estimator. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find sports and outdoors. Here we go. I'm just going to put in the rank of 3,500. And that's now going to calculate the estimated sales per month is 800 units a month. All right. So that's just a freebie out there. So I think I've covered Jungle Scout and how to walk through and how to get a product. I know there's 40 minutes of, but hopefully that was pretty useful. And you've got an idea of how much it's going to cost in order to get started on that. Bearing in mind, you do need those two in order to get from A to B in trying to find a product. Once you found a product, you need to analyze it. All right, so that's Jungle Scout in a nutshell.
Well, I think that's more than a nutshell. You went into really deep there.
Well, it was potentially found a product. I don't know whether it's a viable product. Anybody that's sort of watching this is more than happy to take that and run and let us know how you get on to do further in further details. But I'm really interested in how that stacks up against Amasuite, Rob. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pass the controls over to you, sir.
All right. So I guess we can start out with I'll go right to the product. Now remember this thing. I'm getting a little bit of an echo, Paul. Go ahead and turn off your microphone. All right. So I guess we start out with one of the main couple of things that we'll go over here by the end of this. I'm going to do a much less in-depth thing because we only have about 15 minutes here. So anyway, I'll go through that and go through Amasuite. Now, so the main difference here that I think is truly different is the fact that Jungle Scout's information is on a server, so they don't cover every single product that is out there. So what they do is they cover they actually pull live data from the web live from now. Are you seeing that, Paul? I just want to make sure.
Yes, we got you. I can see that now.
All right. Let me stop this. Okay, so we get to Amasuite and we're on the main page, and this is, so I've opened this up just like a application on my computer. So then once we open the application on my computer, then we get here. This is the main page. Now, one of the things that is different is that, again, it pulls the data live from Amazon right as we're doing this. So I can tell you this. So one of the main differences is also that when you pull this data, it takes a little bit of time to push it. So the difference probably when you go directly to the web app, which again, it's pulling data from a database. So it doesn't cover every single product. So there are more products that you're going to see when you do an Amasuite search as opposed to a Jungle Scout search. Because again, we're going live into, with Amasuite, live into Amazon and pulling the current data at that moment. Now, I don't know how long, I mean, I know Greg Mercer is really good about putting data inside of the Chrome app. But again, you know, there are, you know, 50 million products on Amazon. So they don't have all of them logged. I think they have, like, what are they up to? Like 10 million, 15 million of them? I mean, which is a ton, but I don't believe they're doing as much as they do, because you're going in and you can drill down a little more here. And that's what we're going to show you today. So we get here, and the first thing, and Paul, as we go through this, Paul's a little bit more familiar with some of these new things. He's the technical guy in our process. So some of these things, if there's some new features, Paul, that you see that I'm missing, and I do things kind of the old school way with Amasuite 4.0, definitely jump in and direct me and make sure that I don't miss any of those things. Okay, bud? All right, so here we are to the main dashboard. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to notice over here to the left, they have the categories. And so you can see all the categories. But one of the super cool things about this is that you can break down these categories, and you can get super below into these big niches underneath and search that data. So if you can see here, I went into camera and photo, and then it allows me to click down again. It allows me to get into accessory bundles, bags, batteries, blank video media, camcorder accessories, cleaning equipment. And you can see it breaks down. And some of these, you may find that, so it breaks down even more. Batteries and chargers. Then it goes to adapters, right? And then it goes to batteries, battery chargers. Then you click again, and now we're down into cameras and camcorders, batteries. So as you can see, look at this. Look how far we are into a top 100 niche. Now remember, this is the top product analyzer. So one of the cool things you're going to know is that you're going to go in and you're going to search the top 100 in this. So it tells you that there are some competition, and you're going to be able to go in and search that competition into the top 100 only. Now, there is a second product that's a product search where you put in your keywords, which again, as you do it, it comes with this product. So you're able to go in and touch on really low things. And then if you want to go back in and search specifically by the keyword, which will then give you some insight into how many competitors there are inside. So that's an advantage that comes in here over Jungle Scout, because we want you to be able to understand the differences of. Now, I can tell you that when you're looking and having tools for your business, you have to have some tools, because what this does is, and many of you guys have other jobs, other things that you're doing in your life, so you just don't get to come home and do this as your main job. So you're doing this on the weekends, you're doing this in the evenings. So it's certainly an advantage to be able to have tools that you can go in and get this data to be able to analyze your products quicker. So if you look at both of these products, they're going to save you a ton of time. And that's really what these products do. And I always use this analogy. If tomorrow you're going to decide to be a mechanic, you're going to be a mechanic. Well, mechanics don't show up to work without a toolbox. And the toolbox has tools in it, and they had to invest in those tools. You're starting a business. This isn't just, you're accidentally going to do this. You're starting a business. You're going to have some tools. So here we are. We've broken this thing down over here on the left side of the column. We've broken this thing down a lot. We went down, and you can see how far we've drilled down again. We went to cam and photos. We dropped down again, camera and accessories. As you can see, you go to bags, and then it'll show you all these other kind of bags. So you can see we break this thing down really deep into deep niches that are live on internet. So what I've done is earlier I went in and I selected all of the products inside of home improvement. So I'm getting all of these products and all the subcategories. Now, I suggest it's a little easier to go in and look at these and kind of go in, because, and listen, you're going to be able to, there's no reason sometimes to pull things that you know you're not going to sell. So you don't need to pull that data live, so it'll actually speed up the process in which you're getting. Because what I've done is I've searched, and you'll see I've searched 3,500 items, and it takes several minutes. Well, it may even take you longer than that, depending on your internet speed, where it's actually going in and showing you every product. And so I have tons and tons of products here that we're going to search through. So I've got down in here, and I've got home improvement. So I've pulled the data from these in each little subsection, all the way up all those products. And then I've also come down here and I went to kitchen and dining, and I pulled all of these, Paul. I probably should have been, I could have pulled all the data, but we have enough that we're going to be able to look at it. So you can see I went down, and then I went to Launchpad. Now, Launchpad's an interesting deal. These are people that have used this new program that Amazon has. They give them some enhanced listings. So I think it's a great way to go in and kind of compare with some people who have some great products and they're new. So they're newer products that Amazon has helped them launch. And so you might want to look in when you get ready to launch your product. You definitely may want to go into Launchpad. I think we're going to come up and do a webinar about Launchpad soon as well. All right, so you can see I've gone down, and I've then selected sports and outdoors. So we go back in. Once we do that, we go up here. Once we selected that, we start the extraction. We hit this green button right here. So it starts downloading all of this information. It starts pulling it in. And as it's doing it, it's processing how many pages there are that we pulled in. So we pulled in here, we pulled out 50 pages, as you'll see down here. Now it's going and extracting all the data again, which we don't need to do. So I'm going to stop it because we have the data already. Now, one of the ways I suggest that you work with Amasuite is that you probably should go, maybe this is before you go to work, you get up for 15 minutes, you select these, you make it go, and then you let it run in the background while you're at work. So it'll extract all this data, because remember, it's going out live. And so it might take 2 or 3 seconds per item to pull all of the data. So I can show you, I'll show you in a second how it pulls it. So it takes a second. So you got to imagine if you have it searching 3,500 items and it takes, 2 seconds a piece, you're talking about 7,000 seconds. So you know that takes time when you add up 7,000 seconds. I'm not going to calculate how many minutes and hours that is, but so when you go in, you're going to end up with this data right here. Okay, and so you'll see, and here's the things that it pulls in: rank, the category. This would be the ASIN number, the title of the product, and the main category, the main rank, the sales price, the rating, the reviews, the weight, who's shipping it, total offers, and that's probably, remember, Amasuite does 2 things. It pulls products for doing affiliate sales as well, and that's one of the things we're going to start talking about, some of these other areas in Amazon where people are making money. So then the dimensions, the FBA size, and then this is a very cool thing, and I'm going to show you this, which is the FBA, the opportunity score of something, and it's going to show us directly what kind of products are actually good products out of the gate, that maybe we can skip some of the things, and it says, hey, look, there's too much competition in it, there's too many things that that aren't good, and it's going to let us kind of give that information, so maybe we can save some time and again in that process. So as we go back over here, we've now extracted this data. Well, as you can see, it hasn't pulled all the data, so it goes out first and it pulls a lot of these things. So you can see it does reviews, it does the rating, and it pulls these, but it's not pulled this information, which is very important. But one of the things that I like to do, as you can see, you go in here and you hit the columns. Now, this is one of the new features. So you can go in and you can decide, before you pull the rest of this data, you can go here and select what it's going to pull from it. So we don't need things like the main category total. We don't need the commission. We don't need the savings. We don't need the list price, because the list price is not what we care about. We care about actually what it sells about as we're doing FBA. So the rank, the category, the product ID, the title, the main category, the main rank. Those are things that we all need. So what we do is we apply those filters, and then what we would do then is we go to the filters area, Paul. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You got it.
Okay. So then we go in here, and what we want to do is we don't want to pull the data for items that we absolutely wouldn't sell. As you can see here, it's pulled something that's $6.26. Now, as some of you guys might know, we don't sell products below about $12. I don't even look at products below $12 because there's not enough of a margin usually in there for you to make any money, because up front, because we do products where we want to do these small launches where we buy 100 or 200 of the products, not 1,000 of them, so that we might get into an opportunity where, you know, maybe we've missed the analyzation. Is that a word, Paul? Analyzation, but the analyzing of a product category. And, you know, sometimes we, you know, may not see things out there because, you know, it's just the market that we can't penetrate. And so if we somehow make you know, or an error in that area and we pick the wrong product, then that happens. And so don't be so fearful of that, because what we're going to do is we're going to get a small number of them. We're going to test them out. We're going to do some pay-per-click. We're going to make our listing great, and we're going to see whether or not we could sell. If not, we will reduce the price and then liquidate the product. And I'll throw some of these things in there to give you some of the ideas of the strategy. All right, so we go in here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add in filters for this product. So first we want to do is we want to go look up here, and it's going to allow us to figure out what things we want to find out whether it's something that we don't want. So we want the sales price, because as you can see, what we're going to try to do is before we pull this extra data, we're going to go into the sales price. So we're going to lower the products that we don't want. So you can see here, there's a filter here to the left. You go to the sales price. You go to the next filter. We go in, and you want a product that is greater than, as we talked about, you want to get a product that is greater than $12, right? Then what we want to do is we want to add another filter, because we want the lower part of that. So we go back in, we grab the sales price, we go up, and we want a product less than, and what we try to do is we find a product that's less than $50. And it doesn't mean you can't go up to a product higher, but you got to imagine that if you're going to buy 200 or 500 at some point later on after you've tested the product, well, 500 and it costs you $30 a piece, you're going to have to come up with $15,000 if you go with a really expensive product. So if you know out of the gate that you have a smaller budget, then you need to go, okay, well, I can't sell a product that has to be $20. So you can go in and you can change this number. So let's go in and look at products that are $12 to $30, because you can adapt that. You just have to take it to your situation. So we've done sales price. Now let's go in. If we want to look at products, to me, I always want to look at products that have a lower amount of reviews. So here we are in products with lower amounts of reviews. We're going to go in, and we're going to go right here, and then we're going to go right here. And so what we want is we want, now you can choose this one. So I'm thinking today, we're going to look for products with lower amounts of reviews, because that tends to say that there may be lower amounts of competition in there. Remember, we're not going to actually analyze the listings until we get inside of Amazon. But right now, we're kind of looking for those golden nuggets, as we call them. So we want a product with greater than reviews of, or greater than, let's say, let's not get a product that has super small amount of reviews. So let's get a product that has more than 10 reviews, okay? As you can see, we go in and we select here. So you go up here again and you select here. So we go back to reviews again, because we know we want a top end of reviews. So we want less than, and so you see, you can really hone in on what you're looking for. So we want a product that has less than, let's say, less than 100 reviews, correct? All right, now we're in there, and now what we want to do is we don't need to, we really can't go anymore because we've got this product right now and we want these other things. Now you could go in and you could, you don't have this. So the only other things you could do is you could pull the category out if you wanted. I mean, definitely could pull out the rank of where it's at in its category. It's actually the rank in the top 100 that it's in there. So that's really not so important in FBA right now because this is the actual rank inside its top 100, which isn't as important. So now what you're going to do is you're going to apply those filters. This is what I call the pre-filter, so you don't it shortens your time to be able to pull the data. So what we've done is apply that data, all right? And what it does is it goes in here now. It should have updated. As you can see, everything is above $12. So now we're not looking at anything that's $6. Remember we had $6 up here a second ago? It's no longer. So you only have products that have more than that much data. And you can see we're actually in these products. Now what has happened is, remember, we didn't pull some of this data. So remember we had, this was not extracted, not extracted. So you can go up here to the top and you can see I've pulled, and I wanted to show you the difference between data that was pulled and data that wasn't pulled. So here we are on our categories, and you can see now it's pulled the data for us. We've used a filter, and it says the sales price is this, the ratings this, the reviews are this. It's now pulled our weight. It says who's shipped by it. The total amount off isn't so important because we're not worried about the discount in without using affiliate. We're looking for FBA products today. It tells you the dimensions, tells you whether it's standard size, oversized, all right? And then here's what we talked about, the opportunity score. And we're gonna show you how to dig deep into that in 1 second. So now we have this product again. Now, the next thing we wanna do is we want to filter this data even more. And now that we have more data to filter, we can go in and filter this data per one. So I come back up into the folders, and now I want to go through and I want to add some more filters. Now remember, the reality of what these products do is they're filtering. That's the main thing that they do. They filter information for you and pull this data so you can go in and look. Well, you want to filter because you want to eliminate products that there's no reason you should be looking at them. So, you know, if there's 1 million products, we want to break this thing down to 1,000 products that we can look at instead of millions, because there are just a bunch of products out there we would never even consider based upon where we're at in our business. And typically people that watch my videos and come in and watch me and Paul typically are on the lower end. And a lot of us begin with less than $5,000. Sometimes people start out with $3,000 or $2,000. People ask, how much money do I have to have? Hey, listen, you can start this business with $350. Now there's some definitely disadvantages to that, but you know, if you go out, we have people who started out with $350 and they built their business up. Now, I wouldn't suggest that that's the ideal thing. I would think ideally you really need to have more than $2,000. You know, $2,000 to $5,000 is a great place to start. Do you need $5,000? No. $2,000 will get you started, and especially if you're just doing a product test, which is, you know, 100 to 150 products. You know, you're not dealing with something that's super expensive. When we talked about up here with the sales price. The sales price, higher it is, probably the more money that you have in it. Because what we're doing is a third, and a third. All right, we go back down, and now we want to filter out some more because we can. All right, so we come in here and we want weight, because weight's super important, because we want to use products that have less than 2.5 pounds, less than a kilogram. A kilogram costs you about $5 to $7 to ship it from China. So if you add in $14, you have a product that's 4 pounds, you know, you're 1.5 kilograms. Well, that means just to get it here, just to ship it on the in the airplane, because we up front, we really don't want to put it on boats right now, because if you put it on a boat, it's a whole other process. You got to deal with customs. So up front, we want to stay away from boats unless you're, you know, you have a huge budget and you want to send stuff over and you have more time, because it takes 45 to 60 days to put something on a boat and ship it across the ocean. As you can imagine, you know, boats going slow across the ocean. It's not speed boats coming over. So here we are with the weight. We want the weight to be less than 2.5 pounds, let's say. because it's 2.3, but we'll go 2.5. So then what it's going to do is it's going to go in here and do that. Now, so we want the ship price. Now, if you wanted to, you could go in here and you could say, hey, I only want products that that are shipped by Amazon. I don't want products that are not shipped by. I want to make sure that my size, and this is how they do this. It contains or it doesn't contain. It does not contain products that are or AMZ. So Amazon might be selling it. You can go ahead and you can do that. Or you could do merchant fulfilled. So you could put in whatever you wanted here and that would filter out those things. So we have the weight, we have the reviews now, and then we have sales price. So if you wanted to figure out the main rank, which you don't need to do right now, we would go through and do that as well. All right, Paul, do you have anything that you add in between there and there to do that?
No, that's pretty much, bearing in mind that you've only got a small amount of data selected. The only other one I would probably add in would be the main rank, less than and more than. And on mine, I put in less than 20,000, more than 5,000. So that's the only one I would add to that filter set.
I would do that.
Bearing in mind that if you actually press done, you may end up with 0 products because you haven't actually extracted, because we're just sort of going through the process.
Yeah. All right. So the main rank. Here we go. We want to go to the main rank, and then so if we come back to this 8 greater than or equal to or less than. So we want a product that has. Now, here's where we're trying to get into these super niches that we talk about. So if a product, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a golden nugget that means it's a low competition product. We're looking for a niche. We're looking for something buried deep, which this allows you to do over here. So I actually go a little bit higher. I search for 7,500 and above, right? And, you know, today what we'll do is we'll just leave the top end up. We can go up to maybe 25,000. So I'll go up in here. And so if there's something that has a 25,000 BSR and it sells $3,000 a month, but it's ranked 25,000, that's still, you got to imagine how many products are on Amazon. That's still selling product. Well, at a rate of 25,000, it could be selling $3,000 a month. Well, that means that that product can make $1,000 a month for you, which, you know, that pays a whole lot of bills in your life. And that's what we're trying to do. Pay your bills so you can do what you want. So main rank again, we want greater than, we want less than on this one. Let's say 25,000. Now imagine if you filter this out, you can literally filter out every product that you've done. So, you know, you'll see if you put too many filters on it, you know, and too strict, you may find, well, hey, there's not a product like this that has greater than 10 reviews, less than 100, you know, and then you're going to go in, you're going to have to like lower these numbers or raise these numbers depending on which way, because you've just basically, there's no products that look like that. So we're going to press apply. And then what it's going to do is it's going to go in and look what it's done. It's taken all those things that I've done and it's broken it down to this many products. So there's 10 of them. Okay. Between those filters that we had, again, show filters, we've sales price greater than 12, sales price less than 30, reviews greater than 10, but less than 100, a weight of less than 2 pounds, a main rank of 7,500 to 2,500. Now, one of the things, the reason it's doing this and it's pulled down so much is because we still have products that are in the top 100 in their category. They're in the top 100. So that's why we're not like the product analyzer will pull stuff beyond the top 100 in the category, which even gets you lower and smaller niches. But that's why Amasuite has multiple products. It has a keyword finder. It has a review finder, so it has more products inside of it, just as Jungle Scout does. But some of these you're going to have to pay a little bit more money and to get some of the same numbers. One of the things you'll notice that Amasuite does not do, it does not pull the price and the number of sales in any given day. Basically, beyond that, it has the same data. Now, what we do is, if you just, you have a smaller budget, you take Amasuite and you go get a product like Unicorn Smasher that is a free product that does the same thing that Jungle Scout does, in the sense that it just pulls out the sales price and the number of actual, number of sales. It'll sell 200 or 300 items. So that will cover you if you decide that you'd like Amasuite. Now, Jungle Scout pulls a lot more than Unicorn Smasher, but if you use both of them in that sense, you're not spending any more money, and it would be a one-time fee with Amasuite, where if you're using the web app, it's a monthly process. All right, so here we are with our, looks like about 20 different products. Now, once we're in here, what we can do is the other thing is this is where we have the opportunity score, which is over here. Now, you can adjust these as well and give them a weighting, like how important you think the main rank is. Well, to me, that's pretty important. So you could make it a 10. You could make the main rank position 8 to 15. That may not be important at all to you. The ratings range. Well, the ratings, as you can see, it doesn't weight them as much. I pulled that number down. You could even pull it down further. You could pull it and say, listen, that's only a 2 on my scale. The weight range, now that's super important. That's a 10. The reviews range, well, that was super important to us. Total offers range, that's not so important to us. So we'll do that. We don't care about the amount of offers that there are for that one product. The sales price, super important to us. We have a 10. FBA size, we want standard size. So hopefully we have it, all right. So there we go. Now, as you can see, we still have these products right here. These are like light green. And you can see how you can score the opportunity score, whether you want something in a higher range, because there's no reason to look at products that are less. We want at least there to be no more than 50% or a 60. We want to have, we don't want something with a 10 or whatever. Now, as you can see over here, these scores are pretty higher as the opportunity. You want to get more towards that 60, 70%. As you can see, once it gets above like 55, because of the way we've used the opportunity, it is only allowing this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here, because we know this is a green, so we know it has a good opportunity. Now it says, hey, why don't we go look at this? So what we can do is, anything that you would add right there, Paul?
No, that's pretty good, because that opportunity score does give you an instant color recognition as you're looking at the results. And anything in green, is a good opportunity. Sort of the amber and the yellow is less so. So it gives you that quick overview from a visual point of view. Now, what I normally do here is one of two things. One, which is exactly what you're going to do, have a look at the green opportunities there. You've got 2 on the right-hand side there. So I'd have a look at that. And then secondly, I would come down into the controls on the you got 3 buttons down at the bottom there, and have a look at the review pane, as in that interactive HTML, and go through what those results are there. So that's basically, yeah, we're on the same page.
Okay, right. So here I am with the product ID. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into inside of Amazon. So once we click that, you see that BSR that we've done here. You just basically take the product ID, and it's going to take you right into Amazon in your browser, is what it's done. Now it's dropped you into the inside of Amazon, and we find that this is Sugru moldable glue. Now, to me, right out of the gate, that gives me the essence that as you can see, what it does is you put some stuff in, it must get hard, as you can see there. So you probably put it on your thing, you have a little break, basically covers it. So, interesting product, but I would see, you can see in the dishwasher what it does. The only issue that I'm thinking here is that there's probably, this would probably likely be a branded product. And like, some guys made this, this super glue up. And so he's may not have, there's probably likely you can't get the same product. So I would probably quickly decide that, you know what, this is probably, I might go up and real quick go up here and go moldable, M-O-M-O-L, moldable glue. Now we might come in and find out. So I want to find out, are there other moldable glues? Vite moldable glue. Okay, there's theirs. Okay, so there are some other moldable glues out there. So you can see there's a top 100 of moldable glues, but as you can say, this thing really dominates the market. So rescue tape. Here's one that has some moldable silicone adhesive repair toolkit. So you could go into there. Now, if you had your Unicorn Smasher, you could kind of go in here and check, you know, the sales on this page. Now, I'll just use Jungle Scout because I happen to have it right in there. This is the Pro version, so this is the application that goes into the Chrome extension. And right now, I really only care about, you know, the estimated revenue is really what I'm looking at. So as you can see, it doesn't pull all the information right now. And Paul and I talked about this. For some reason, it disconnected from my account. So we've got to go back in and I've got to reconnect it. So it's not pulling all the data right now because of that. But so we see this thing is doing $10,000. So people are aware of this product. Loctite, you can see these other people. The Vite, it's not pulling that, but it's selling less than 5 products. So really, I can look in. This guy's kind of got the market covered because I think he probably invented this product or came up with his own thing. So I would go back in here, and then I would look at another product, okay? Because that one is done up by Purely Probiotic gummy supplements. Well, we try to stay away from things that are not to go inside your body, so I would quickly decide that I wasn't going to do that. So what we'll do is we'll go down here with something very close in our deal, and we would go into kitchen supplies. So now we're going to look, and we're able to kind of on the fly kind of do this. Spread that serrated warmer budding cutting knife. So basically what that looks like is it has a little heater on, or it's just serrated. Spread that serrated warming butter knife. So it must have some little thing that heats it up and does it. So Paul's kind of told you how you go from here and how you analyze that, and I don't think that's as important with Amasuite. You've already covered it. So you go in here and you try to go in and find out what the main keywords are, because we want to find out how many there are people who are selling this product. Warming butter knife, and so we go in there, and as you can see, there are some warming butter knives, but it doesn't look like there are many at all. So that's kind of a unique product as far as it heats up and does it. Now, you're really going to compete with all of the butter knives here. So you'd have to go in and you check and see how many butter knives. So Paul covered that earlier in the process of how you actually go in and analyze the product once you get here. You know, you're going to look for the main keyword, and then you're going to go in and analyze that category, because we're not looking at just one product. We're looking at everything in the category because we're trying to find out how many competitors are. So you can say that thing is a warming butter knife, you know, because, you know, one of the problems we all know, you pull out the hard butter and you can't put it on your toast. So this thing kind of melts it a little bit, obviously, and does that. So we come back. And, you know, again, we're not gonna spend at that time to analyze each and everything. So that kind of covers most of the things. Paul, what other things might you do inside of Amasuite that I haven't done? And maybe you can show me some of the other features that you might use or that I'm not using in that part of the process.
Well, I think it's important to come down to controls. Down there, you got 3 buttons down the bottom. You got file controls. You hit that, and you got preview down the bottom. This isn't new, but it's a feature that we all like. It's that interactive HTML, similar to what Jungle Scout had, but what it allows you to do is actually look at the results as you scroll down, and again you can apply the products to avoid mentality as you're walking through this. So that's preview results gives the list a more of a visual aspect in order for you to go through. I think you cover that pretty much well. how to apply the filters. You've got that new feature on there with respect to score. That opportunity score allows you to visually review the product listing. Now, bearing in mind that we've only got a very small sample data here, because again, the Amasuite goes into, and I think this is an important point to bring up, Rob, here. Amasuite, what it does is actually goes into Amazon directly. All right. Now, what Amazon do is they update their top 100 and all of the categories on an hourly basis. All right, on an hourly basis. So therefore, the snapshot in time, in other words, the data that you bring out, is at worst case 59 minutes old. Worst case. So you are getting the very, very latest information. Whereas a Jungle Scout, like I said, they actually pull out that data, put it inside their own database. And I believe that the rate of update is on a weekly basis at this moment in time. I can confirm that, but I believe that's on a weekly basis. Whereas Amasuite, that basically goes into their Amazon itself, draws that information out virtually live. Very, very latest information as you pull that through. So I think that's a key important difference between the two pieces of software. But yeah, that's a pretty good walkthrough. I like that. So what do we get with Amasuite, Rob? Show us what we get. How much is it? And what do you mentioned some other bits of software?
All right, so here we
are.
Let's
not go through that, but let's have a look at what they are.
All right, so the top 100 product analyzer is what we went through. So as we talked about this, it finds products that are worthy of being sold before you actually go look at them. So what it's doing is, it's a big giant filter that goes down and filters all your information and gives you things that might be a good product. You still have to go in and analyze the page and find the keywords, find out how many competitors there are, because that's not what these programs do. They're probably, so I need to invent a product that goes in and tells you exactly how many competitors are. And one of the products in here I think helps you get a long way with that. So get 200 to 300 fresh proxies every day that are built into the softwares to get the new proxy feature. Can you explain a little bit about the proxy feature, Paul? Are you familiar with that part of it as well?
Yeah. Let's not get confused about what the proxy is. Right, let me do a quick 1 minute on that. If you are a power user, all right, and you are doing this 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, searching. There are occasions where Amazon will say, "Hold on a minute, it's just too much data coming out on one IP here. Let's have a break, guys. Come on, stop." So, and therefore they'll stop you analyzing. So what the guys at Amasuite have done is paid for, brings in fresh proxies on a daily basis. In order to get around this loophole with respect to if you're a power user, you can actually go on to one of the proxy servers in various different countries and say, okay, then I'm now analyzing not from my IP, I'm actually downloading from Czech Republic or Australia or New Zealand or whatever the case may be. So what they've done is they've provided you with secure proxy IDs in order to get around that small loophole. I suggest that doesn't affect the majority of people here that we're talking about.
Perfect.
So that's all that is.
All right. Well, that makes sense, because Amazon's like, why are you pulling all this data? So we can get around that basically at this point. 62,000 categories. That's what we talked about, going really deep into niches. So you can break that down, and that's what I suggest you do. You get in there and find something that has 100 products. There's only 50 of them really competitive. Now you found the jewel, and you're now extracting the top 100 lists, and that is as well as in the UK. It doesn't do Germany and the other markets, just as Amazon.com and Amazon UK. All right, so we talked about the kinds of data that it pulls. You can look for instant category searches in these categories. As you can see there, they're kind of going through it. One of the great things is both of these programs have great inside walkthroughs. So you're not going to have to remember what I did or how to do it. You're going to be able to go in if you buy these products and do that. All right, so it's got the filters. Once you pull the data, it will filter out. Like, you basically have an Excel spreadsheet here that you can literally go in, put these things in there, as you see, and they're doing each category by there. Now, I was doing it in a main filter. You can go in and collect this thing here, and we'll drop these things in here. And I was doing it by adding it. You could just select a column. So there's some other ways. You want to have control of all this data. So you have a lot of different data that you can filter. Now, I can tell you this, it's a little bit, Amasuite is a little bit more intensive, but it does more things. So, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of get into the process of searching it. So you have to spend a little bit more time on that area. But the data that it pulls is really great. So this one, the search analyzer goes in, and what it really does is it allows you to search thousands of keywords. So if you find that main keyword, and over here we talked, I was just looking at this. This is a mason jar pour and balls. And basically, it's a cap that goes on your mason jar. So you could go back in here and you could put in here mason jar tops. And I kind of looked at this. You have to figure out exactly, what the category is this. But I saw when I think I looked over here, we found, so you can see there's different kinds of tops that basically go on mason jars. Now, the only issue I'd have with that is there's probably not a bunch of different kinds. There are really kind of different purposes, and I probably wouldn't want that. So it allows you to uncover stuff beyond the top 100. Same thing with the thing. You can still use the HTML report, so it still does every single thing that does, but you're able to search by keyword. So again, you can go in there and it shows you, it does the same things. It just has the same features as the top 100, but you're able to search by keyword as well as you're able to go in. Now, we talked about the history of the data and things like that. You can go in here and you can see the history of the sales, just the same as you could in Jungle Scout. So you'll be able to get that. Paul talked about the fresh proxies, which allows you, if you ever have a problem, you're searching, 8 hours a day in a day, and they're like, hey, we need to do this. So it allows you to go in and figure out what the data is and this for each little area, and it does that well in the top 100 analyzer. It also has a keyword generator, so you're able to go in and look for keywords and figure out what keywords have some advantages to them, so you can really kind of score what your keywords are. So you can get insights into the keywords, what that category and those keywords look like. It's another product comes with it. You also, it goes through and it has a review analyzer. So it can give you product ideas there. It's going to save you much more time. And, you can use the stop words, database, instant preview features. So it's another piece of software that's going to help you review with your reviews. Obviously, that's a good thing. We keep going down, and it has more stuff. So the bonus is the Ally Inspector, which really is for inspecting stuff on AliExpress. And there's another one it does, doesn't it? It does AliExpress and what's the other one, Paul?
So it's Alibaba, so that's the Ally group. But this is really for geared up for drop shipping and stuff like that. But it could well be useful if we're looking for a low end entry point, testing your product style that we sometimes talk about.
So as you see here, here's the training. It talks, so this is actually a course that comes in here that comes with the product. So it comes with the Amazon selling crate. So more training here about how to be a better seller. So it's got modules, how to find a supplier, how to pick the right product, introduction into Amazon, how to get reviews. So it goes through a lot of things. If you're interested in affiliate sales, and we're going to get into affiliate sales more. So it has a 30-day money back guarantee, which both of these do. So you really have no risk in trying to use any of these products. So don't worry about this. It's you have nothing to lose. You go in here, if you don't like either of the products, you can send it back, and both of these companies are very good at being able to return your money if you don't want the deal. So what it will do is it'll break it down into your payments. If you just want to pay one time, it's $97, and you get all 5 tools. You get the new review analyzer. You get all of these things here, and you get the other things here, but you can break it down into $67 and you make 4 payments on it, 1 month apart. So, you know, over a 4-month period, you could do 67 as well. All right, so a little bit difference in price. This is a one-time pay. This is a 4-time pay. With the web app, you're going to continue to pay that $39 every single month continuously. And you're going to go in and you're going to buy the $150 for the Pro, which will give you some more data. Now, could you have them both? Man, if it was my business, I would have both. I'd have every single tool I could get. Now, because I want to get as much data as I can to analyze. So there are even more products out there, and I use tools and software all of the time. Now, if you're on a limited budget, well, I understand that. So maybe you come in here and you start out with the 67 and you get the Jungle Scout Lite. So you can do whatever combination you want, and you know, and you can then just do your best with what you have. Do you have to have that? No. You can, you know, work with these products. You can, you know, figure out what one maybe works for you. Look at all of them. You know, you can get free trials on almost all of these pieces of software. Go in, you know, and maybe once you find a product, go in and analyze those products and see what you're doing by different ways. So again, difference in price is a little bit different. Not a huge difference when you really break it down. But 5 pieces of software here that do things that Jungle Scout doesn't do. So I've always been a favorite of Amasuite. Paul's tended to be a lot of times more into Jungle Scout. So again, either of them are a product that you can use in your business. So don't worry about you know, having them both or just having one. We're just looking for what I call the golden nuggets, and the golden nugget is a product that has less than 150 competitors. And then we go through the products to avoid, you know, which you can get at the website at gorillasonline.com, and you can get the products to avoid guidance. It's a free guide that we have. All right, Paul, you got anything to add to this? Because we've gone an hour and a half today. I'm gonna stop down. All right, there, Paul. Where did you go? Paul.
I'm talking, but I'm still on mute, so that does help.
Yeah.
I just got sort of one thing to finally sort of finish up on. I just want to reiterate, this is not a sales pitch. This is purely a walkthrough with respect to showing you where we are with respect to these products. And Rob said, you know, it's really important that you have tools in this business allowing you to get that competitive edge, as opposed to when I first started this, when Rob first started this, there were no tools. It was a case of sitting through not hours, but days and days and days researching, getting a spreadsheet together, and just trying to make the best guess you can based upon the information that you can physically find. And at that particular time, there was very little. Nowadays, there are these tools out there. Now, Rob did say that we got the, everybody here is on the inside the call anyway, so that's no problem. Gorillasonline.com. Scroll down. This is the main website. Click here, and they'll take you straight to the sales pages. The only difference is once you sort of purchase one of these, you've got an ASIN inspector over here. Sorry, you got the Jungle Scout. You got the ASIN Amasuite link there. You'll just get that 1 hour training session. So if you don't know where to find it, just come onto the website. It's gorillasonline.com. Make your purchase. Let us know, and we'll have that one-on-one session with you. It's no problems at all. Like I say, this is not a sales pitch.
Yeah, so let me explain. Let me explain that to you, because listen, we're not trying to hide this. These guys pay us a commission on selling this. So obviously, if we're going to get some money, I want to give you value for that. So this is not something other people offer. This is exclusively through me. So if you purchase that product through one of these links, and let me tell you what they are. So it's junglescout.com/Amazon Gorillas, and that's GORILLAZ. Okay, this one is amasuite.com/Rob. Now, this link is in the description below, as well as it's on gorillasonline.com. So right below this in the description, you'll be able to click these links. Now, if you don't buy from me, it's okay. But if you will purchase the product from me, Paul or I are going to hop on a call with you and walk you through personally. So what a heck of an advantage. Now, as you can see, Paul pulled out a product this morning that was pretty good. He was able to go in and find a product. So we're going to help walk you through maybe finding a product for yourself with you one-on-one on a call. So, you know, whatever amount of money that we get, and you know, both of them pay out a little differently for us. But we want to give you back something that other people aren't giving you. It's just not like, hey, buy it, figure it out. We'll hop on a call with you and actually show you how to use these products, which I think is a really great advantage. And so it gives you an advantage if you'll work with us on this product. So I think that's super important, Paul. Anything to add to this today?
No, I think that's a wrap. I think there's
all right.
A really good walkthrough. Well done, Rob, sir. Excellent. Anybody's got any questions, you know where we are, just reach out. A lot of you have got our Skype. If you haven't, just request it. That's not a problem. But Facebook group, Skype, email, whatever, just come back to us. We're here to help. That's what we're all about.
All right.
All right, team. I hope that was good. It's I'm going to stop sharing, and that's all I've got.
I'll show you my face one time before we go. All right. Turn your camera off.
Yeah, why not? Scary.
I think I'm screen sharing. Yeah, there we go. Hey guys, we'll see you later. Thanks for coming. You have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email. Talk to me on Facebook, wherever it might be. We're more than happy to answer your questions and help you out. See you later.
Happy selling. Happy finding products.